Last time on Edgeworth Investigations. I spent the same amount of money on this model as it costs to build the real thing, and my boss wasn't very happy with me. Looks like we're eating out of the garbage can again, Timmy. Hey guys, Ryden here, and I have finally done that one thing that every YouTuber has done at least one time. So I went to record this episode. I was about 50 minutes into recording to the point where it says the to be continued screen. And I realized something quite important. Because I had updated the program in which I record with, it had chosen to change the hotkeys at which I record with. So I recorded the entire end of this chapter, and I don't mean the end of the case, I just mean this to the to be continued screen. And no video recorded. At all. Nothing. So, I don't know, maybe what I can try to do is sync it up. I was thinking about that, but that's extremely difficult. So, I'm just going to do the best I can in re-recording this entire episode with a lot more excitement than I had. But just for your information, there's a lot of things that went on and a lot that I already experienced. So, one of the things I did is one of you guys told me that apparently the German thing for Von Karma doesn't really make 100% sense because she's not German due to the translation thing. And apparently a bunch of YouTubers also do the same exact kind of voice for her, which I don't know. I've never watched an Ace Attorney Let's Play in my life. But I tried to do something different, so I gave her Sanaki's voice, and it actually fits really, really well. And that's about it. So I'm just going to try to go through this episode with as much excitement as I can, already knowing what's going to happen, and literally just looking at it 5 seconds ago and going, oh shit. So let's try this. It was just a chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rel's. The two bodies fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell in the opposite order. I just know that Franziska's explanation isn't absolutely correct. All I have to do is find a hole in her logic. Once I do, I can then present her with the evidence that proves the contradiction. Alright, so I already know what to do, which makes this really, really weird. So we go to the third statement. This is so weird to do. And we press it for information. What do you mean by they attacked each other at the same time? I assume Mr. Faraday had two different weapons in his hands. He made to attack Mr. Rel while holding both the knife and the revolver, and then, after Mr. Faraday fired the gun, Mr. Rel grabbed the knife as he was falling and stabbed Mr. Faraday. That is how Mr. Rel wound up on the bottom with Mr. Faraday on top. At close range, that is more than possible. Yes, it's possible, but... Well, if you have any other ideas, then show me what you've got. Oh, I will. Edward just rips off his shirt. It's like, oh, it's like, well, I'm really not impressed. It's like, well, there goes my dignity. And to the extent I'd like for you to append what you just said to your testimony. I don't see any point to that, but do as you please. Okay. And to fix this, you go, no, that's not right. And hopefully I'm not getting the wrong one here, because that would mess it all off, or all up. All off. The hell? I think it's Gumshoe's testimony for this one. Yeah, because... Is this the right one? I don't think this is the right one. I have a bad feeling it's not. No, it's not. This is the, handgun. There we go. Yes. I love that, wink double finger waggle. So you believe that they killed each other at close range. Sorry, but that's impossible. Just as it's written in the crime scene notes. The firing of the handgun did not leave a gunpowder burn on Mr. L's clothes. Therefore, Mr. L and the gun must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. I don't know why she does that animation. It's super weird. Yes, this is by far the biggest contradiction. I'm gonna be like zooming through this with my voice, unlike normal, where I kind of read it, so hope you guys are prepared. The two bodies are piled up on each other, yet the gun was fired from a distance. And with there being no chance that Mr. Rel moved that far after being shot, that leaves only one possible explanation. What a completely foolish line of a foolish thought from a thoroughly foolish fool. If I'm not right, then who was it that made the first move with the intent to kill, huh? Who? The person that attacked first with murderous intent. That would be neither man. I'm like figuring this out at Edgeworth speed. But the original time I did actually guess what was going on, and that there was I predicted that there was a third person in the room. So that's part of that. Here in this room, contradictions appear no matter which man we claim attacked first. Thus, there can only be one explanation. There was a third person here. It was the third person who killed both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel, and set their bodies up to make it look like a double murder. That third person is the real culprit. Silence. Miles Edgeworth, there's just one thing that you're missing. Evidence correct? Exactly. Everything you've said up until now is nothing but a story played out in your head. You know, I'm starting to notice something about the Von Karma family. And, like, I imagine their entire training was one day he just had Edgeworth and Sanaki. Not Sanaki, goddammit, I give her the voice now, I think she's Sanaki. Edgeworth and Franziska sit in a room and he's like, okay, to prove people wrong, illegally, you have to have this thing. It's called evidence. You understand? And they're like, yeah, I kind of knew that already. It's like, good, you're ready to go. It's like, well, what do we do with the rest of our lives? I don't know, just, I don't know, play tic-tac-toe or something, whatever children do. However, this is where the real test begins. Can you prove that there was a third person involved in this crime? Of course. If the third person was truly here, that fact would resolve the glaring contradiction. The proof that this has all been a setup made to look like they killed each other. I'll present it and lay bare the final piece of the puzzle that's not yet in place. What is the piece of evidence that proves there was a third person involved? It's obvious. I already forgot it. It's this plastic bag. Because if there was no sign of struggle, and I also did deduce this just barely on my own. I don't know what that clicking noise was. That was super weird. But on my own, I kind of deduced, like, hey, earlier we kind of recognized that there was no sign of struggle, so therefore there'd be no reason for all the plastic bags to be all over the place, yet they were all over the place, meaning that whoever did it just tried to make it look like there was a struggle in the first place by throwing around plastic bags and covering them with blood. The gun in Mr. Faraday's hand and the plastic bag with his blood on it. These two items point to the presence of a third person. How so? Recall Detective Gumshoe's testimony. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. I had my earphones in, though. There wasn't a struggle in this room. Then there shouldn't be any plastic bags on the ground, meaning that someone else must have deliberately scattered them around. She's gonna break that thing. You know, that'd be awesome if that was the reason why she has the, long whip, is because she breaks the short ones sometime in this case. I think that'd be awesome. Do you not see the possibility in this? Disregarding the gun for the moment, there's a high probability of blood splatter with a knife. Wait, when a knife is used on a person. The culprit held the knife with a plastic bag around it. They could use the bag to catch any blood splatter from when they withdrew the knife. Yeah, I honestly thought that this part was going a little too technical into the whole murder aspect. Like, it's not that hard. You could just cover the bag with blood. It's really, you don't need to go that deep into it, Edgeworth, but he's choosing to anyway, so whatever, Edgeworth can do what he wants, because he's Edgeworth. Then by spreading a few more plastic bags around, mixing the bloody one in with them, and arranging the room to make it look like there was a struggle between the two, they were able to conceal their presence. Ah! I don't know why she screams like that all the time. She looks so worried. Poor Franziska. Then again, she hits everyone. I also, sped up this dude's voice again because I did realize I really like the voice I gave him. But I thought it was really slow. So I kind of sped it up a little bit. Looks like we've still got a long way to go in this investigation. Yes. Oh. Time for one of my favorite new characters. I actually really like this character. I also still can't get over how the judge is standing. He's like, I'm ready to tussle. Who wants to fight me first? Gumshoe, how about you? You're staring at me for across. No, I'm not eyeing you, sir. Shut up. Pile drives Gumshoe. What the heck's up with you? Wait, oh, that's Gumshoe talking. What the heck's up with you, pal? Mr. Bad, I advise you to place Detective Gumshoe under arrest. But what? What's the meaning of this? Looks like you're not man enough to discipline your own subordinates. Don't you dare. That detective claims he was there standing in front of the door the entire time, but I have it on good authority that it was all a giant lie. I love how the judge is still over there, like, low on breath, getting ready for combat. Miss Yu, I ask that you please explain that last statement. I'll let His Honor explain it himself. I saw it with my own two eyes, I tell you. During the recess, there was a period of time when there was no one in the hallway. What? See, Mr. Bad? So I ask you, why would a detective who is supposedly doing his job the whole time want to fabricate such a lie? Gumshoe, did you kill Mr. Faraday? No! Of course not, sir. One of the logical fallacies in this situation is the fact that they're taking the judge's word over Gumshoe. And if the judge was in the area the whole time, that also places him under suspicion equally, but they don't really take that into account. They're just like, oh, it's the judge, he'll never commit a crime. It would appear that one who set up this whole crime scene up is that detective. Which basically renders his testimony a complete lie and wholly invalid. Ugh, that thing is weird looking. Like, it just has an odd color. Like, a hideous color. It looks like your perfect logic has just come tumbling down, Miles. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single beep of the struggle. Was that statement really a lie? Detective Gumshoe, you are now a suspect in the murder of 2 men. Now spit out the truth, or so help me. I haven't lied to anyone, sir, honest. I was really there. I was in the hallway the whole time. Hold it. Detective Bad, I ask that you please do not act without my permission. After all, I am the one that is heading up this investigation, am I not? Right? Right? Don't talk like you know what's going on, boy. Oh, wink, finger waggle. I still can't get over the fact that he does that to Detective Bad. He's like, oh, no, bad boy. All I want is for this investigation to run perfectly. Perfection is the only wish of a disciple of Von Karma, after all. Therefore, before you take Detective Gumshoe into custody, I'd like to set the record straight on something. And what's that? What should I ask Detective Gumshoe about? So originally when I did this, I got all of these wrong every single time, and I was explaining my logic going through them. But, the actual answer is motive for murders. Because the thing with the rest is, even though we're talking, that's already the topic that we're talking about, which is his motive for the murder. That's what we're asking about. And I didn't really get that too well, mainly because these are 2 perfectly good questions that we aren't already questioning, but whatever. I suppose one thing I'd like clarified is Detective Gumshoe's motive for committing this crime. Motive, huh? Gumshoe, you got a grudge against Faraday or anything? I love his eyes. No, sir, not me. Not a single bad thing against Mr. Faraday, sir. Is that a fact? You really have a problem with lying, don't you, Detective Gumshoe? I'm telling you, I am not lying. You know what? Oh my god, I just realized something. I gave Gumshoe, Sid's voice, but they both play the exact same role of, like, goofy law enforcement agents. like goofy, kind of scruffy looking homeless, not homeless, but scruffy looking law enforcement agent, and they have the same exact role. They're kind of the same characters, just Sid's scrawny compared to Gumshoe, who could like bench a train. The more unnatural you act, the more suspicious you become, you know. If you want a motive, Edgeworth, I have one for you right here. Could you please share it with us? However, be forewarned that I won't hesitate to object to flights of fancy. Because all I'm interested in is the perfect explanation. You're serious, aren't you? Fine. You amuse me, so I'll humor you with a little courtroom practice. Gumshoe's motive. It was about a week ago. I saw the detective get chewed out by a livid Faraday in front of the precinct. He stood there super pale as Mr. Faraday yelled, "That's a salary cut for you, nitwit." A brand new detective suddenly getting his salary cut, that's reason enough for a grudge. Well, how's that for a perfect explanation? Except for the part where it's not perfect. You totally misunderstand me, pal. No matter how mad I get, I could never hold a grudge. Quiet. You can't trust anything you say. And by the way, I put my person on the murder on Mr. Swiss Cheese Coat here because I just don't think his design is meant to last through the entire game, especially since his role is kind of filled with Gumshoe. Although I'm not saying they're the same exact character, far from it, but I just don't feel like he has a place for the future of this series that's not being a culprit. Sir. There's nothing wrong with the motive she proposed, per se. But there are some gaps in her logic that need to be filled in. Miss Yu's perfect explanation may not be so perfect at all. Okay, so for this one, we go to the 5th comment. I know it's really weird to play this way, and I'm sorry I screwed up. But, we go to the 5th comment, and then we press it. Where she's like, well, how's that for a perfect... Oh, wait, this isn't the 5th one. This is like the 6th. Press. To cut a new detective's salary right off the bat like that. I'm not really familiar with the way you guys relate, but is that common practice? Speaking of cutting my salary, didn't you threaten to do that to me earlier, too? I suppose I did. It's only natural to cut a worthless detective's salary down to their actual worth. My father can even fire anyone new or old with a snap of his fingers. Shh, do you think maybe that's reason enough for detectives to hate you people? Well, I guess they really shouldn't cut people's pay. Detective Bad, don't tell me Mr. Von Karma cut your salary earlier. Oh, man. That's not the one we need to press. I thought we needed to press a very specific statement. Maybe it's this one. You call your explanation perfect. Is it not to your liking? Oh yeah, it is this one. Nope. Wink wink finger waggle. Unfortunately for you, it's just not up to my standards. Oh, is there something you want me to clarify in that case? What should I do? Should I raise an objection? And I did last time. Alright, if you could clear this one thing up for me. It was their relation. Actually, allow me to ask the detective directly. What was your relation to Mr. Faraday? Mr. Faraday was in charge of training rookie detectives to testify in the trials. I met him on my very first day I entered the criminal affairs department, pal. Oh, I had no idea Mr. Faraday was so involved. Faraday. He may look like an easygoing guy, but he's actually a bit of a nut for strict discipline and manners. Guys like Gumshoe tend to rub him the wrong way. Ugh. That's not good. There, now you know that Detective Mr. Faraday were related. Happy now? No. Wait, okay, maybe this was the wrong one. You said you only had one thing to ask, right? Please allow me to ask about one more thing. I love how she makes fun of Edgeworth for making that sound. Oh, you're a ride, Edgeworth. Poor baby. Tell you what, I'll let you have another go. How's that? Alright, if you could clear this one thing up for me. Oh yeah, it was his motive. Understand Detective Gumshoe's potential motive for killing Mr. Faraday. However, what about his motive for killing Mr. Rel? Oh yeah, it was because Gumshoe has no reason to kill the other guy except for, like, to keep him hush. And I predicted that way early in the episode, but no one brought it up until now. So. His motive for killing Rel, like I would know. There was no clear motive for both murders, then I doubt this incident would have occurred, wouldn't you agree? Is there anyone else who might have a grudge against either of the two men? Or should we look into that ourselves? Oh, in that case, I have absolutely no idea. What? But that's impossible. She must know something. Wait. Can you please not glare at me like that? Makes me laugh. I didn't even do anything and you're already laughing away. Well, anyway, the way I see it, as long as he had a motive to kill one of the two. And I know I said I was giving Francisca the Sanaki voice. I haven't been doing a very good job of it this time around because there's a lot of voices that I do that's really hard to... It's really hard to pronunciate things as I would normally when I'm trying to speak this fast, so... That's why it may not sound quite the same. This crime would have played out the way it did anyway. Oh? Would you care to explain your logic? And this time, please try to provide a truly perfect explanation. Perfect this, perfect that. Stop being so uptight, or is it that a prerequisite for being Avant Karma? Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you shut this rude woman up. I wish you'd both be quiet for just 1 second. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to explain it to you kids. Kids? I'm not a child. Motive to kill the men. There's no one out there with the motive. Yeah, okay, I already know this one. Just like there's no one with a motive. All you have to do is establish someone who had a grudge against the two men. Or one of the two men. Mr. Rel, who happened to be there, became a witness to Mr. Faraday's murder. Before he was killed out of necessity and set up to look like they had killed each other. I wonder if that's really true. Is there no one out there with a grudge against both men? Should take another hard look at the evidence for this morning's case. The second KG-8 incident, as people are calling it, involving an embassy staff member. And the two men who both wound up as suspects in the case. Is there someone else I'm overlooking who is somehow related to them? So how you're supposed to figure this one out, and how I also figured it out, is this first statement, where she says there's no one out there with a motive to kill both of them. You go to the KG-8 incident overview, and you see that the victim, his name is Miss CCU, which is her last name. Well, what's her actual first name again? Because all I've been seeing is U for the longest time, so, it won't just let me look at the evidence, so I can't see her name. But I know her last name. Oh, it's Callista. Yeah, Callista U. Which you guys said is... the pun is callous to you or something. But anyways, that's her sister. I think I just spoiled that. Whoops. It's related. It's someone related to her. But we figured that out in like literal seconds anyways. And yeah. This is what I presented. And it's correct. It really doesn't feel that good when you know what you're doing. It really doesn't. Like, there's a special feeling when you get an objection right, and I'm not getting it right now because I already know the answers. Monsieur, I believe there's something you overlooked in making your statement. Or rather, is it because you'd rather not bring this person up? What do you mean? We are looking for someone with a reason to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel. I can think of at least one person that fits the bill. He was the suspect in the original KG-8 incident. And a member of the Cadopian Embassy staff, Mr. Manny Cochin. That's right, the very man who came to visit you earlier out in the hallway. The man who killed a member of the Cadopian Embassy staff, Mr. Rel. and the man who was lead prosecutor of the KGA incident, Mr. Faraday. See, this is the actual reason why you're supposed to present it, but I just presented it because, her sister had the same last name as her. Are you telling me that Mr. Kochan has no reason at all to kill both of these men? Well, I suppose he might have a reason or two. You covered for me, pal. Man, I'll be with you forever from now on. We'll be like Guts and Puck. No, I wouldn't like that. Maybe you're not such a bad guy after all. Don't get ahead of yourself. You're still a suspect, make no mistake about that. Perfect evidence, the perfect testimony. These are the only things I wish to hold. But I didn't do it. You will stay under my authority and go investigate Mr. Manny Kochan for me. And remember, I will not be forgiving should any... What? I didn't get to read what he said the last minute. You want to investigate Kochan? You'd just be wasting your time. And why is that? Kochan was up in the viewing gallery watching the trial. Or so I was told. Every cop in this place has been keeping an eye on the guy since he arrived. Then the only real suspect we have is still Detective Gumshoe. I suppose so. No way. Come on, Detective Bad. You gotta believe me, sir. I really was in that hallway the whole time. I never took a single step into this room, sir. Okay, then. Are you saying there was someone else who passed through the hallway? No. There was no one else, sir. Then why should I believe you didn't do it? That is one incredibly foolish detective. Standing right in front of a crime scene all by himself. It's as if a confession of guilt. I have to admit that it's a bit strange. Most criminals will fabricate some sort of lie to escape their crimes. And if that detective really wanted to prove that he is innocent, you'd think that he would at the very least offer up "I spaced out while on duty" or the like. Come on, Gumshoe, time for your interrogation. Don't make me eat the vegetables again. Oh, I'll make you eat all the vegetables. I like to think that's how, like, since Ace Attorney's like a T-rated game, it's like, we're gonna interrogate you. It's like, huh, how you gonna do that? It's like, tell me what food and movie you don't like. Miles Edgeworth, I will go and report this. I will go on ahead and report this to Papa. And I know I'm saying Papa, and I know I say it that way oddly. And that's not even how I say it. It's just I like saying it that way. There's no other specific reason. I think it's fun to say it that way. And that, as they say, is that. Right, everyone? Ho, ho, ho. Yep, just gonna leave here now. Done with it. Looked like the judge had something on his head. And it was not hair. Looked like the gavel was coming out of the back of his head or something. Well, I suppose we should both be getting back to our real jobs now, huh? Before we do, Miss Yu, there's something I'd like to speak with you about. What is it? Oh yeah, by the way. Hey, wait, Edgeworth. Oh, I actually tried to leave. Where are you off to? Aren't you the one who wanted to talk? Oh, yes, sorry about that. Does a police officer have anything to say? Oh, he won't talk to us. Okay. So what did you want to ask me about? The current case of the murdered Cadopian Embassy staff member. I've heard that people have begun calling it the second KG-8 incident. Only among you law enforcement types. And what about it? I'd like for you to tell me everything you know about the original KG-8 incident. I'm afraid I can't help you. I don't know anything beyond what was reported in the papers. No, I believe you know much more, since you are directly tied to the KG-8 incident. Did her head just become slightly bigger, or was it just... I wasn't really looking, but out of the corner of my eye, it looked like her head actually got larger. I'd appreciate it if you stop with the false accusations. Baseless outbursts are useless both inside and outside the courtroom, don't you know? I do, but I also know that I do have a leg to stand on here. Okay. So, yeah. This is where you're supposed to... I'm sorry, I'm skipping all these lines. If you could please just stop laughing for a second. I'm not going to make any headway like this. Just going to have to show her exactly how related to the KG-8 incident she is. I actually like her animation right here of laughing. She's losing it. But yeah, I originally presented this because I saw that the lady had the same name as Callista, or the same last name. And that's what I was like, oh, and then I realized that's what you're supposed to do here. I also noticed just now that you can no longer just randomly present profiles to people. You can only present evidence, which is fair because presenting profiles sometimes can get really annoying, especially on top of the logic system we have now. Miss Yu, I believe that I have proof of your connection to the KG-8 incident. That file is your proof? Very well then. Why don't you tell me exactly how I'm related to the KG-8 incident? Through the victim, because that was her sister. Your connection to the KG-8 incident is through the victim. The victim's name is CCU. You will note that she has the same last name as you. Can you really still tell me with a straight face that you are not related to this case? I like her. I just noticed this. She has scales as earrings. I also really like her theme. Like, it's so joyful. I actually really like the sound direction in this game more than any other game. I think the, I guess all the ambient sound effects of people walking and people just doing stuff among the great tracks for every single character. I think they're all just really, really good, and I'm fairly impressed with this game's score. Sorry, but we're not related. What? Just kidding. You asked that question with a serious look on your face. I couldn't help but... I'm not going to do the laughing like I was earlier, because I'm depressed now that I missed that first recording session, which I feel is a billion times better than this one. Oh! Miss Yu, I ask that you please tell me the truth. Ahem. Alright, I'll tell you everything I know. KG-8 incident. As you guessed, the one who reported the smuggling activities of the Amano group. The hell? I'm sorry, but this just hit me as I finished Persona 5 like a month ago, I think. And not even a month ago, it had to be like 3 or 4 weeks. But just like this soundtrack right here sounds exactly like a certain song in there. It sounds so close. I can't even... It's like something playing in the background of my computer. I can't tell, honestly. It's so weird. Was my sister, CCU. As I thought. And she was killed right before she was to testify at the impending trial. By Manny Kochin. But because he was tried once, and he was acquitted, he gets to live out the rest of his cushy life completely carefree. All because of a lack of evidence. No, I heard that the evidence to convict him did exist. What? I heard it from Mr. Faraday himself after Mr. Kochin's trial was over. Apparently a man in black made off with the most important piece of evidence. Then the evidence had been tampered with. Isn't it just like a criminal to do something like that? The smuggling ring being run out of a mono group by one of its secretaries, so yeah. This... I forgot to explain this at the beginning of this episode like I did the last one. But at the last episode I said this case happens way before the first case, which is not entirely right. So the order of cases is this case, the second case, and then the... Yeah, it would be this case, the second case, and then the third case, and then the first case, and then the last case. I think. Either way, this one is an obvious time skip backwards, because Tiny Francisca does not exist within the current time. But the last two cases were just days before the original one, I believe you guys said. Bad memory. Once again, don't forget that about me. Which is an odd game for me to be playing when I have bad memory. They bailed Mr. Kochin out. Turns out they were in league with each other all along. How big was that smuggling ring? Was it a large operation? And this is supposed to link it all together. I don't really know. Which is why I wanted to become the lead defense. On this case that people are calling the second KG-8 incident. But I haven't learned anything new at all. I was probably expecting too much, you know. You mean you think this case has nothing to do with the smuggling ring? I don't know what to think. Why did Mr. Kojin want to meet with you earlier? Actually, he came to watch the trial. Apparently, he only found out that I was a defense lawyer on this case after he'd arrived. He figured he should say hi and one other thing. Looks like you couldn't resolve anything this time either. Too bad. What's that supposed to mean? Oh boy, stop it with this scary face already. I'm fine, really. I gave him a good slap across the face. The way she talks about slapping him as she laughs away is kind of creepy. Ahem. But it's just as Mr. Bad said. He's not related to the double murder. I asked around and people in the gallery claim that he was in his seat the entire time. But that's gonna be a contradiction later on. Talk about cruel fate. Well, this is about all I know. Sorry. Guess I wasn't much help, huh? That's not true. I'm sorry I made you recall such a painful time in your life. Edgeworth, you really are too serious for your own good. You really need to learn to relax. We wouldn't want you to die of stress, would we? Thank you for the advice, but there's no need to worry. I work in my own way, and I will catch this criminal in my own way as well, you'll see. Look at you with your game face on and ready to go. I'm making no such face. Did you know laughter's the best medicine, Edgeworth? Don't you get tired of making such a serious face all the time? I'm charged with making sure that all the criminals of this world are found guilty. I have no need for laughter. There you go, making that face again. Oh well. I've got to get going. I still have a few loose ends I need to tie up. And she just phases through his body, apparently. But we're not going to question that part. That's not part of the investigation. Doesn't matter. The KG-8 incident and this murder investigation. It is my belief that these two cases are related to each other somehow. Plus that detective, Detective Gumshoe. It's obvious he's lying, even though the lie is hurting his chances. Or say he was not lying. I can't go back. Clearly this case is far from over. Whether or not the detective is the murderer can only be determined once I've completed my perfect investigation. Mr. Von Karma, I swear to uphold your honorable name. Yeah, his great honorable name. Or my name isn't Miles Edgeworth. Okay, so we are now at the point at which I stopped and realized it wasn't recording, but we're still recording now, so that's good. Sorry if I kind of zoomed through that first part. I would prefer just to zoom through the first part than pretend to not know everything, if that makes sense. But now we're on to more blind territory. And plus we got through this part way faster than I initially did. So we can fit in a lot more. He's trying to fix the water fountain like, how did he break it? He stepped on it too much. And that one cop just laying on the couch like, I don't know. I hate my job. And Gumshoe's over there just seething with the power of hatred, I guess. Sir, what is to become of the trial into the Cadopian Embassy staff member's murder? Indeed, since both the suspect and the prosecutor are dead now, the case will be dismissed. In other words, the trial ends here prematurely. Huh, looks like you'll have to wait just a little longer for your big debut. I suppose it can't be helped. The evidence for this trial will be transferred to you in a little while. Sir, what do you think about the murder of the Cadopian Embassy staff member? And the murders of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell? What an outrageous circus this has all become. That Faraday brought it all upon himself with his naivety. An outrageous circus, right, sir? I grow weary of this topic, Edgeworth. I will have you assigned to a different case. Papa, you'll come and watch my courtroom debut next, won't you? I'll consider it. Sir, if I may, please, allow me to continue with my investigation. Whatever for? I know that there is already a suspect in the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. However, there is not enough evidence to prove that it was he who committed the crime. I would like to continue investigating in order to find the perfect proof of his guilt. The perfect proof? Don't make me laugh. A worthless person like you has no right to claim such a thing as perfection. Papa? Who do you think is the real culprit behind these murders? Wow, he just called, like, his basically son worthless. Miles and I were competing to see who can find the first real killer. Or the real killer first. Plus, being able to investigate the real crime scene is a really rare opportunity. It would give us some real-life experience, wouldn't you agree? If you all want to investigate the case that much, then do as you wish. Then you're allowing us to continue? In court, your top priority is to win, and a solid investigation is one of those keys to winning. We have to make sure you become recognized as a first-rate prosecutor, don't we? It wouldn't be very interesting otherwise. I'm returning home now. My TV show's on. Edgeworth, Francisca. See to it I'm not disturbed, save for the results of your competition. Yes, sir. Of course, Papa. Francisca, thank you. What are you thanking me for? Your logic earlier was built on that scruffy detective's lie. That means that the competition is still on. Yes, just as you wished. I couldn't just let you get off so easily. Now then, let's see how well you fare into the investigation from here, Miles Edgeworth. I know I don't have enough information yet. So my first order of business will be to question anyone involved with the case. Even though I'm gonna go talk to these random police officers first, because they're funny looking. I can't stop the water, sir! It seems that the man who was here earlier broke it by drinking from it too much. A bunch of fools who pretended to not see foolish actions of a foolish fool. Well then, why don't you lend the officer a hand? As if I should have to do anything with this. Besides, that water-drinking fool's mouth is the thing that the officer should be covering. Let's give that officer a description of the water guzzler later. She seems to have quite the grudge. It sounds to me like someone wanted a drink. Oh, what about this guy? Wow, this thing's so incredibly detailed. My inner modeling fanboy is impressed. I'm not exactly a fan of plastic models, per se. But even I can sense the superb quality of this model. I simply cannot comprehend how much a man can feel with so much love for such a trifle. Oh, I see. You're a disciple of my father. So you would do well to guard yourself against an interest in such unproductive things. Yes, perhaps I should take up whipping people like the young lady over here. I'm actually into that kind of thing. Didn't I ever tell you, Von Karma? Oh, into what thing? I don't understand what you... Nothing. Never mind. This area is restricted to authorized personnel only. If I'm not authorized personnel, then what, may I ask, do you think I am? The younger sibling of a dysfunctional relationship. I'm not the younger one, he is. Now get that straight in your head. Wait, is he actually younger than her? Hold on, I gotta check some ages. I believe there's a more objectionable part you should be upset over, Francisca. Is he actually? Hold on. How old is Francisca? She's 13. How old is Edgeworth? It doesn't say. Oh my god, this guy looks like a super murderer, like from out, like he looks like a demon. Christ. Oh god. This guy's face doesn't even look real. The rest of them all look okay. She looks like a very, very low pixel. His face looks so familiar. He has the face of that... He looks like Jetstream Sam, kinda. Or that guy from Bayonetta. Both Platinum games. Anyways. Sir, nothing to report, sir. Is there no one who will make this man take responsibility for his actions on the job? Looks like we have no choice but to report this to Papa. Then this guard can have fun in the walking nightmare after being awakened from his dream. Actually, let's not. I kinda feel sorry for him now. Oh, hey, Gumshoe, what's up? It wasn't me, I tell you. I didn't do anything wrong. Yes, I understand, so let's just calm down, okay? Dad will get anything useful from the detective while he's this agitated. It always looks like he's bleeding out of his head because of the pen. Miss Yu. Oh, it's you, Edgeworth. And who are you? Oh, wait, you're at the crime scene just now, aren't you? You should be disbarred for not knowing who I am. I am Franziska von Karma, and I am about to become the successor to the family name. About to? I guess that means that for now. You're still just another kid. In which case, it's only natural that you didn't know who you are. What? Why are you whipping me? Anyway, it looks like they're planning to hold the evidence a bit longer. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's waiting. I'm terribly sorry, but I have a few more questions to ask of you. Look at you, eyebrows scrunched with lines on your forehead. And that to ask of you? Well, what exactly is so funny? Sorry. I'm just bad at dealing with a super serious atmosphere. Yeah, I can see you have an obvious laughing coping mechanism. Apparently they failed to teach you proper behavior at a crime scene in law school. I feel much better now. So what is it you want to talk about? I'd like to inquire as to where you were at the time of the murder. You were in defendant lobby number 1 the whole time up until we heard the gunshot. And by we, I mean Mr. Bad. If you don't believe me, feel free to ask him yourself. You were with Detective Bad? Why? We had a little something to discuss, that's all. Okay, we have a lot to talk about here. So I take it that you are acquaintances with Detective Bad? Yeah, he was detective in charge of the KG-8 incident. Detective Bad is also related to that incident? That's right, he was the one who was supposed to protect my sister, Cece. But you know how that turned out, don't you, Edgeworth? Miles Edgeworth, I have no idea what you two are talking about. I've heard of the KG-8 incident from my papa. But how does that case relate to you and Miss Yu? Or you, Miss Yu? The victim of that case, Cece Yu, is my little sister. Oh, she feels like such an ass now. You're making that super serious face again. I'm fine, really. I just make it a point to rub some more salt in his wounded pride every time I see him. The way she talks about doing that as she laughs away is kind of creepy. Well, speaking of Mr. Bad, he and Mr. Faraday, I'd say they met up just about every single time the Yatagrasu made a move. It was practically a given that the two would meet up at every single one of the crime scenes. I see. He did not mention that he's in charge of the Yatagrasu investigation earlier. Maybe I should ask her what she knows about the Yatagrasu in more detail. You claim at the time of the murder you were with Detective Bad. But don't you lawyers usually discuss the trial with your clients during a recess? We do, and that's what I was planning to do. Mr. Faraday was being rather threatening and he dragged Mr. Rell away. After that, Mr. Bad came into lobby number 1, so we just stayed there and talked. And what did you talk about with Detective Bad? Nothing interesting. I just insulted him some. And talked about how the trial was going, and then I insulted him some more. Bloody! When she's not laughing, her mouth seemingly spews nothing but insults. Anyway, Mr. Bad and I were in the defendant lobby number 1 when the murders occurred. So I really can't tell you anything about the hallway or lobby number 2. I see. Mackerel, I still love that name. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your client, Mr. Mackerel. Now, your client first claimed to be the Yatagrasu, is that correct? Yeah. Once I heard it was the Yatagrasu that had made off with the evidence from the KG-8, I began to ask Mr. Rell all sorts of questions, but to no avail. Turns out Mr. Rell was not the Yatagrasu, he had just made that up. He made it up? Mr. Rell's crime was caught on tape by the security camera. But there's no footage of him sneaking into the Kondofian embassy itself. Hold on for just 1 second. Then you mean to say that you knew that he was not the real Yatagrasu, and that he was just another cold-blooded killer, and you were ready to defend him? Yes, that's right. I see. So a defense lawyer is actually just someone whose job is to cover for criminals. That's why defense lawyers are so detestable. They are no match for us Von Karmas. That actually made me laugh for realsies. Who says realsies? Jeez. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You're serious. Why don't you save that face for something really worth being serious about? I'm still laughing at the fact that I've been saying realsies on a regular basis, and I just haven't taken notice of it. And Edgeworth, do you remember what I said earlier? I have my own agenda. I'm still on the hunt for leads regarding the KG-8 incident, alright? And for that, you have not a single qualm about defending a known killer. Well, I really emphasize that Q. Don't put words in my mouth. I said no such thing. The only way I had to get close to Mr. Rell was to be able to be his lawyer. Oh, I see. I had no intention of covering for him ever. Don't you dare suggest I was going to. I'm sorry, forgive my rashness. Wow, I'm surprised that wasn't a joke. Monsieur, I was wondering if you could tell me about the Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu, huh? I really don't... Oh, by the way, you guys told me that the symbol for the Yatagarasu or the original Yatagarasu folklore thing. It's supposed to be like a 3-legged raven. I'm not sure what it's about. I might look it up soon. I'm just afraid I'll type in Yatagarasu and Ace Attorney spoilers or something will come up. Not that I don't already know it's K, but I feel like it might spoil things. Unlike a certain thing in Radiant Dawn, which you guys will figure out soon enough. I don't really know... Oh, yeah. Okay, we already did. But I do get a lot of consolation requests from companies to defend them. Requests from companies? The Yatagarasu isn't some petty thief out for money, you know. Alright then, perhaps the Yatagarasu is in the business of stealing people's lives. Not very funny or witty, are you, little Miss Von Karma? Urgh. Franziska, be careful about who you whip. Choose carefully, or maybe... sued by... There, I chose carefully, just like you wanted. I'm laughing too. Oh, that was hilarious, little Missy. Of course it was. What is wrong with these two women? What does my pain give them delights? Poor Edgeworth. I feel bad for him. Just like I do with Phoenix sometimes. Although then again, after what Phoenix did to Apollo, I kind of feel bad for Apollo even more. And? So in the end, what is the Yatagarasu? I have to say, I've never even heard of this thief when I was in Germany. Really? You don't sound German. You sound like an angry, short British princess. Well, I can sound like what I want to. Even though that's not a very good British accent either. The Yatagarasu deals in information. Namely, digging out dirt about backroom dealings and like of companies. The Yatagarasu is a vigilante who steals such info and then makes it public for all to see. Vigilante or not, this person sounds just like another criminal to me. I suppose you could put it that way too. Either way, I get a lot more clients now thanks to that thief. Sounds like Miss Yu is profiting nicely. Suppose I've gotten all I can out of Miss Yu. I should move on and speak with Gumshoe now. Oh, is he not angry anymore? No, he's calmed down. It's a bookshelf. What's all this? Judge's Trial Exchange Log. Appears to be a journal where the various judges share their thoughts and ideas. The real daily lives of the judges are laid out here on these pages. There's nothing about the court in here. It's just page after page of unrelated drivel. Judging by the content, they are very unenthusiastic about the courthouse's daily menu. It would appear that fried oysters are a favorite. I had no use for such foolishly foolish words from that foolishly foolish coward. Someone please assure me that this is not the true state of our country, of this country's judiciary. Sucks that I didn't get to talk to the judge more in this game. Detective Gumshoe. Hey, it's you, pal. You're here. Ouch! As am I. I don't think you needed to whip him to let him know that. I didn't do it, pal. I swear on my honor as a detective, I really didn't. Your words are useless. I place my trust only in evidence, Detective. Once the investigation is fully over and we should find out that you are the killer, there will be no mercy to be had for you. Have a heart, pal. But you're not worried, right? After all, you have nothing to worry about if you are really innocent, that is. That's right. Hey, pal, go and do your perfect investigation. Get the real killer for me, will you? I would have done so even if you had not requested me to, Detective. So you and Mr. Faraday had a small meeting last week, did you? And what exactly did you do to make him so angry? I just asked Detective Bad the same thing myself, pal. Turns out he was mad at me because on the very first day as a detective, I reported in at my usual post instead of the Criminal Affairs Department. By the time I got down to Criminal Affairs, I was really, really late. And that's when he gave me that huge speech. I remember doing the same exact thing in elementary school. On the first day of school every year, I'd always wind up going to my old classroom. How pathetic for the detective to be compared to a mere school child. You claim to be standing guard in front of the door to lobby number 2 during recess. However, when did you receive the order to do so, and from whom? Earlier around 3:20, and from Detective Bad, pal. Today's trial took a really crazy turn, so I was told to make sure nothing happened to Mr. Faraday. And yet something did happen to him, correct? It looks like it was a total waste of manpower to assign you to guard duty. Ow! Your words sting worse than your whip, pal. Aw, poor Gumshoe. So it was Detective Bad who ordered him to stand guard, huh? Now then, Detective Gumshoe. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me? Nope. Not a thing, pal. In that case, allow us to take a look at what you are carrying on your personage. Oh, wait. You can't do that. There's nothing of any particular value here. Well, my handcuffs and badge were confiscated by Detective Bad, so, you know. And what is that open envelope I see sticking out of your coat pocket? Ah, hands off, pal. Just show it to us already. Yo! Bonus. Annual bonus check within $5 total. Except there's no check inside. You've had your look now give it back, pal. It's my first bonus as a brand new detective. I just got it and cashed it today. I had literally no cash on me up until I did, you know. So that envelope is really special to me. Now give it back. You don't need rubbish like this. Don't worry, we'll throw it away for you later. How could you? Poor Gumshoe. I'm sorry, but I need to take him in for questioning now. I think I've asked him just about everything I needed to. No, wait. Since he became a suspect, there's one piece of evidence I should reconfirm. Officer, I ask that you wait a second. I still have one thing I'd like to reconfirm with Detective Gumshoe. Understood. But please make it brief, sir. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. I must confirm whether or not his testimony about when the crime occurred is the truth. Gumshoe, let's talk. Oh, I just have to present something? I don't know what to present to him. Is it the bonus? Well, we're trying to confirm something from, We're trying to confirm something from what we were just looking at, right? Do we have all the evidence we need for this? Because I think it said we could go into the next room. I don't really know. Oh, duh. We present his own testimony. I think. You told me earlier that you heard no sound other than the gunshot out in the hallway. Is that correct? No mistake about it, pal. Then you are also claiming that no one passed through the hallway either. Is that also correct? Yep, not even a single ant passed through that hallway while I was on duty, except for that trail of ants on the wall. Just turns like a Knight of Katarina. I'd like to see that art, actually. Edgeworth as a Katarina Knight. That'd be freaking awesome. Or Ace Attorney characters as Dark Souls characters would be a cool thing. Or vice versa. You do realize that the lie you're telling is only making life more difficult for yourself. Huh? Oh. But it's true! I didn't see anyone go through the hallway, and I didn't hear anything else, pal. I bet the killer found a way to kill the two guys that's beyond what I can even imagine. I'm guessing Gumshoe was turned away from the window or whatever, and that's why all the ants could get in. Was because the guy who killed them went through the window while Gumshoe wasn't looking. And that's why he doesn't know, because he's staring down the hallway, and someone came quietly through the window, and he didn't hear anything, and they went in there, shot them, and then Gumshoe was like, oh no, I heard a gunshot or whatever. And then he somehow got out of that room without Gumshoe noticing. Which doesn't really make too much sense. But why would he do so given the situation he's in? I believe a thorough investigation of the hallway in front of the defendant lobby is in order. Oh, what do you do? Oh my god! You little rascal. I will unleash 1,000 hells on you. She's like, bleh. And she dropped something. Probably on purpose. How could you not have noticed that coming? Wasn't the child I changed money for earlier? Thanks. That's exactly what I needed. Kids can sometimes be so cruel. I share your sentiment, Edgeworth. There's nothing more I hate in this world than children. That's not entirely true, but I very much dislike children. It looks like she dropped something. Swiss roll. Maybe we should arrest the girl. She might turn out to be a valuable lead. I believe some sort of punishment may need to be dealt with the next time we meet. Aw, Kay's adorable. I believe I asked all that I need to of this man. Now for the Detective Bad to judge. And the judge. We have to confirm who is correct. The judge or that scruff face, right? I suppose we should inspect the hallway in front of the lobby number 2. Next, then. I suppose so. Shall we head on over, Franziska? Away we go. I like having Tiny Franziska as an assistant. Her run animation's also really energetic. There we go. Whoops. There we go. Just had to walk into it. And then I met my wife, and she told me that my beard was nice. Sir, I'm asking about the murder. Well, I'm talking about my beard. So, did you see anything else? No, I don't think so. I see. Well, thanks for your cooperation. Oh, it's nothing. Just doing my duty as defender of the law. Sleeping on the desk with my gavel. Well, that'll be all for now. I'll ask again if I have any other questions. Anytime, Detective. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a few loose ends I have to tie up. Pushes every button on Snack Machine. Now to go hide in my judge closet. Oh, you're that new prosecutor Mr. Von Karma recommended, right? My name is Miles Edgeworth, Your Honor. And I'm Manfred Von Karma's daughter, Franziska Von Karma. I'm set to become the successor to my genius father any day now, Your Honor. I see. Mr. New Prosecutor recommended by Von Karma. I bit my tongue. Are you alright, Your Honor? Please feel free to refer to me as just Miss Von Karma, Your Honor. As for him, just Edgeworth is fine. Apparently somebody doesn't feel that I'm worthy of a proper title. Oh, very well then. I shall call you Miss Von Karma and Mr. Prosecutor Edgeworth. Your Honor, Mr. Edgeworth is fine, sir. Now about your earlier testimony? Yes, what about it, Mr. Edgeworth? I would like to ask you a few questions about what exactly you saw. Alright, after all, it's just my duty to clarify my testimony as defender of the law. I greatly appreciate your cooperation, Your Honor. Now, the first thing I will need to do is figure out the detective's exact movements. Oh, but I'm just kind of curious. It's a fun question for the comments like I did that other time. How many of you guys actually watched Apollo? I'm just kind of curious if there's anyone who's like new to my channel is just like, oh, he's doing Edgeworth, or if you guys watched Apollo and you're here. Just kind of curious. Anyways. Oh, we're supposed to talk to Judgy. Hello. Actually, no, I don't want to talk to him yet. One of you guys gave me his cool tip I'm gonna do. Oh, I like his sprite so much. Your Honor, I'd like to ask you a few questions if you don't mind. Where were you at the time of the murder? Do you suspect me of something? No, nothing of the sort, Your Honor. Ahem, very well, you may... He just carries the gavel around. Very well, you may continue with your testimony. Your Honor, it's your testimony after all. Oh. I had no idea you were chasing after me or my testimony. I'm beginning to sense that I might want to avoid being in a trial run by this judge. Too bad, bitch. All the trials are me. Hey, where you going? You just said you want to talk to me. Actually, I want to check out the snack. I don't want to talk to you right now, Francisco. Yes, what is it? No, I don't need your help. God. One of you guys told me to examine this and push every single button on here for just funny things. Wait, why in the world does a bag of beef jerky cost more than a hot dog? It would appear that this vending machine sells snacks and other various foods. Just lovely. What will they think of next? Don't be a jerk in court like these beef jerks. 1 packet for $9. Defendant's fresh milk. 1/2 pint for $7. Stay neutral as the Swiss do until the end with these for $6. They're awfully overpriced. The lineup is simply awful, period. Speaking of snacks, I wonder if that Swiss roll that little girl dropped is from this machine. I wonder about that myself. Is it? I wonder. It's one of those silly things. $7 hot dogs, $8 ham sandwiches, $9 for $9 glass of orange juice. Christ, what the hell? Or is that like that's a very misleading picture? Are you getting the whole carton? Is it a big like gallon carton or something? Or like a pint? Or is it just the glass cup in which it just breaks in the machine and dispenses orange juice and glass all over your hands to where you bleed out and die? I don't know. Let's just start looking at these up. When you're in hot water, you might need a hot dog. Looks like this slogan was decided through a public contest. And the winner was Prosecutor Winston Payne. It was me, Winston Payne. What a pathetic slogan. No presents at all. Now, if it was up to me, it would read, if you leave matters in Von Karma's hands, everyone in court will be found guilty dogs. Objection. Overruled. Oh wait, was that Edgeworth saying that? Don't be a jerk in court like these beef jerks, I see. Miles Edgeworth, wouldn't you agree that is a very clever pun? Do you think they really put that much effort into the product name? Even a foolish fool could understand the foolish thinking of a fool who made it up. You're acting so foolishly as though I got so thoroughly mad. Now I'm utterly famished. If you wanted a pack of these, all you had to do was ask like a normal person. Don't let the prosecution and the defense make a ham sandwich out of you. Sounds like it's directed at that ham of a judge. Well, it certainly isn't directed as me. I can outmaneuver him any day. I think pretty much anyone can outmaneuver the judge. When it's looking bad, blind your opposition with some OJ. Are they promoting violence? Don't worry, my whip will always make sure that anybody following this advice won't be for long. Compared to the sting of a whip, the sting of orange juice may not be so bad. Milk. Defendant's fresh milk. What exactly is that supposed to mean? I bet it means that the milk is freshly I bet it means that the milk is freshly milked by various defendants on trial right now. It's so weird because without seeing Sanaki's face, it's so hard to do the accent. It's something I can't understand, but it happens to me a lot. I think the same thing happened with me to trying to think of the name. I think it was Oscar or Soren or something. I had trouble making their voice without actually being able to see their face. No, I think it might mean that it was milked right here from the various defendants. Well, Edgeworth, you can't possibly be serious. Of course not. Let's look at Swiss rolls. Stay neutral as the Swiss do until the end with these. The end of what? Well, I assume it means the end of the trial. Suppose this means that one should eat these during a recess? You can't eat during a trial. So I suppose the only time you can eat them is now, huh? I wouldn't mind if you wanted to eat one now. They all come in packs of 2 after all. We're in the middle of an investigation. Besides, I don't have $6 on me. If you want, we can pool our money together and buy a pack together. If I have to split with you, that means if I have to split it with you, then I don't want it. Jeez, I'm having a hard time just trying to do the accent, trying to speak at the same time. Well, that's it. Thank you guys for the tip on checking that out. That was thoroughly entertaining. What's that guy doing? Is he like dusting for fingerprints? Doesn't even look like he's trying very hard. I'm sure if I dust in the same spot long enough, a fingerprint will appear. And this guy's just looking for change on the vending machine, like, they're not paying me enough. I need money. Doesn't look like there's anything contradictory left in this area. I suppose not. Perhaps I should check somewhere else. Where else, Edgeworth? Where else? Well, are the ants still there? Yeah, they're still there. Whoa. Hold on. I just messed something up in the recording area. There we go. Fixed it. Okay, so now we're going to take notice of the ants. And what's that red thing? One person to have inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Okay, first is plant. Ah! What is the matter? I pricked myself on one of these cactus needles. I didn't think the needles on this thing would be so sharp. Edgeworth, I live in the desert. I know. They are very sharp. Well, what did you expect? Can you imagine how bad it would be if you were hit on the head by one of these? Anyway, this cactus seems to be unrelated to our case. Do you really think so? Because I believe that this cactus sitting on this windowsill is completely related. What? Edgeworth, how did you come to this conclusion? Okay. Oh, hey, the window across the street's also open. I think that means that they climbed or jumped across here or something. What is this? It's a pink-colored piece of trash made of rubber. A balloon. Probably. I feel like I've seen something like this before. All I see is a piece of garbage. But you know, the fact that there is a litterer running loose inside this courthouse. I don't know, I'm gonna have to find a good voice for these. Even though I'm trying Sanaki, it's not hitting that point I need it to. It's simply unforgivable. Ah! It's not like it was... Oh wow, that was a really good for once. It's not like it was I who littered. Rubbish belongs in a rubbish bin. Ah! I guess I'll just keep doing like the angry kind of voice, and I don't know. Anyways, let's look at these ants. The ants are hard at work carrying food to their home. It's a marvel that they can pick up such comparatively large objects to their size. Well, if you want to carry the mighty Von Karma name and not be squished under it, you'd better work extra hard, just like these ants. The same goes for you, Franziska. I can look outside, however, I doubt the killer would have escaped through here. Of course not, this is the 3rd floor after all. It appears that the bars were installed on this to prevent people from falling out. Bars? What bars? Can you not see them from your vantage point? Oh, she's too short. Ah. Ah! What? Must remember not to bring up that taboo subject again. Aw. I wasn't pointing at the bars, though. I was pointing at the window. I can look out. Oh, okay. Well. Okay, I guess that's all there is. There's nothing to do with the bars. Okay, now let's look down here. Ooh, a fingerprint. Okay, that's K's. Either that or an extremely large frog. The dirt on this bench, it smells like some sort of sweet substance. I can't believe there's someone going on dirtying the courthouse. For shame. Calm down, Franziska. Now take a good look. Doesn't this smudge look kind of like a handprint to you? I suppose it could be. Which means that perhaps we can lift these prints from the person who sullied this bench. I see, and then we'll know the identity of our mystery slob. You there, the lab technician. Could you please find out who this handprint belongs to? Sir, yes, sir. I've got the results of the fingerprint analysis, sir. And what do we know? Do we know who they belong to? Sir, the fingerprints belong to Detective Gumshoe. Oh, interesting. Good work, officer. Oh, do you know what? I'm trying to think of what happened here. I'm trying to imagine Gumshoe sitting down on there. Meaning he was facing forward, meaning that no one could have come down the hallway and bothered him. But from the window behind him, if there was someone like Kay who came through, although I doubt Kay was a murderer. Or maybe just like a pardoned one, and she's a whole criminal the whole time, and no one ever figured it out. But I feel like Kay came in from behind him. Or you know what I bet it was? I bet Kay stole the roll from Gumshoe. That's what it was. And there you have it. Yes, well, I guess she wouldn't have to steal the roll from him because she asked for change so she could get one. But the machines also have change slots in them, so that doesn't make much sense. I don't understand. I'm just trying to go too far. Yes, I suppose so. Now we know the identity of the person who dirtied the bench. I sense that you and I will be using this information in very different ways. What are these black speckles? I believe it's a pile of ants eating away. Ooh, that detective. He claims not a single ant slipped by him. And yet there's a whole hill of them. Why are you whipping me? As a replacement for that pathetic detective. Perhaps I should add this deduction to the detective's growing tab of pay cuts. Anyway, I wonder what the ants are eating. From the look and sweet smell of it, pieces of cake and chocolate from a Swiss roll. Miles Edgeworth? The courthouse is to be kept pristine at all times. It wasn't me that dropped the food on the ground. The courthouse! It must be kept clean! Okay, I get it. God. Later in life, Edgeworth was traumatized, and any moving object that looked somewhat like a rope, he would just instantly hide under his desk. Anyways, I'm gonna end the episode here because I've been recording for a long time. As you guys told you, I did a 50-minute session before this where I basically did the case until the to be continued moment, which I'm really sorry. I kind of messed up. I wish you guys could have gotten like the blind look at it instead of my weird run through, but these things happen, and it was just unsalvageable. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, regardless of these problems, please leave a like. It shows me your support and saves the judge's life from bad criminals. And if you want to become a member of the Dust Brigade, just click subscribe. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. See you on the next episode.